in oneself, which is going to be very important. So before she proceed, let me read a very short profile of our respected resource person. Madam has completed her BCom from University of Mumbai, uh, then B.Ed from University of Mumbai again, then M.Com in the year 2011 from University of Mumbai, M.Ed from University of Mumbai. Then she has completed many courses, and she have published a number of quality articles in reputed journals. We are very lucky that a faculty who is working in a college totally dedicated for education will be able to take our class today. So we welcome you, ma'am, and we are very happy to have you in our midst. So you may proceed with your lecture, ma'am. Ma'am, you kindly unmute your microphone.
Yes, thank you,
Yes.
sir, for that lovely introduction, and thank you for accommodating and adjusting me uh, because I had to take this class before, and sir has requested today because I am really grateful to you, sir, for accommodating me today for today's
Madam,
session.
your voice is not clear.
Okay.
It's breaking.
So, sir,
You
yes, sir. Give me one
yes,
minute,
yes.
sir.
You close your camera. Yes, yes, like that. It's going well.
Yeah. So, if is it okay if I switch my camera off and take the
Yes, yes.
session,
It's
or
fine. It's totally
uh,
fine, ma'am.
it's fine? No, I in between I
Yes,
will
ma'am.
keep my camera switched on. Okay.
Yes. Participant, am I audible from your side? Okay.
Okay. Okay. I'm connecting, sir. I'm connecting. So, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So, the topic for the session today is self-esteem, belief in oneself. Um, I have written a research paper on this, and uh, this was some years back, and I felt that this topic is very important for two reasons. That I handle the B.Ed students. Okay, I am basically teaching in a teacher training college where we have got young teachers, aspiring teachers, budding teachers who want to become teachers. So I feel this topic is very important for the simple reason that as teachers, you are always going to shape the lives of your children. You are going to shape their future. You're going to make them emotionally strong or, emotionally competent. And for this, it is very important that, self-esteem, okay, is to be understood by the teachers, not only understood, but also to be built by the teachers. Self-esteem is to be built among their students. I'm sure that most of the teachers who are a part of this session, okay, would be dealing with adolescents, would be dealing with children of higher education, while they interact, okay, in their teaching learning process. So to begin with, Okay. Um, this is one small image where where I start with this session. Okay. This quote is by Sarah Dessen, who says that believe in yourself appear and it will make you stronger than you could ever imagine. So we always have to believe in ourselves. This belief is very, very important. Okay. And this belief is something which will help you to be stronger, and it will help you to reach, uh, uh, you know, wherever you wish to go, wherever in your personal life, in your professional life, it is very, very important. So when I look at this image of self concept, okay, uh, can somebody tell me what you understand by this image? I have an image of who am I. I have an image of, I have a drawing of what is self concept. What do you understand by this image? Can I have few responses? What do you understand by this image? It is self understanding, overall sense of value of worth, self learning, self introduction. Okay. Yeah. So basically, this is, okay. The responses are quite good. So basically, this means, so when we look at self concept, okay, self concept is basically what you are. Okay. Now, this self concept of you depends on your self image, ideal self, and self esteem. Okay. So, self image is what you are, your image that you make. And is a part of both self image and ideal self together, which contributes self concept. And we are going to talk about self concept today. It's basically about your own worth, your own value. Okay. What value do you attach to yourself? Now, looking at these two images, okay, if you look at this image that is on the left hand side, okay, that is the idealized self. Now, what do they say that as children, okay, when they are in their middle stage, okay, when they are in the school, okay, uh, it is very inconsequential to them, like whatever thoughts, ideas, okay, they are in the process. If you know Piaget's theory of cognitive development, the child is exploring, the child is learning about himself. Okay. And whatever is being told to him doesn't matter in that stage of the pre-childhood stage. Okay. Where the child is basically from maybe 2 to 6 years, because whatever is coming, he is absorbing and he's trying to make himself good. That is basically is the ideal self. And it is not inconsequential. But when we look at this particular image, okay, when we look at this particular image, okay, that is adult the child, okay, greater sense of social awareness arises. Can anybody tell me why does parental perceptions of the child depend during the adolescent stage, or why there is social, greater sense of social awareness that arises? Why do you think this happens in the adolescent stage? Y'all can unmute yourself and y'all can give your responses. They have been in the society now, so they should understand social norms, immaturity, self-analysis, self-image plus idea of self concept equal to self-esteem. Okay. Self-recognition. Okay. So now when you look at this adult, because they, okay, because when you look at this stage of adolescence, okay, the child is now trying to learn values, now trying to have his own ideas. Okay. So when we look at Piaget's theory of cognitive development and Kohlberg's theory of moral development, okay, we at that particular stage, okay, the child is no more just accepting what others are saying, but the child also reflects, gives thoughts and ideas to whatever is being told to him. That is why any kind of comments, any kind of suggestions that you make to your child, okay, the child is hearing it, okay, and the child is trying to now try to analyze what is being told to him. Okay. That is why the issues of self-esteem, okay, when we say self-esteem makes a lot of importance, okay, attaches a lot of importance in the adolescent stage. And that is why this topic of mine is basically going to focus on the adolescent stage, okay, of how you need to know to handle adolescence when it comes to self-esteem. Okay. Because as teachers, it is very important that you deal with their self-esteem well, because somewhere when we connect at the national education policy, okay, or we connect at the national curriculum framework, they all say that we have to build students who are having good well-being, okay, who are connected with harmony, okay, who are able to be better citizens of the society. Okay. And for this reason, it is very important that whenever you are trying to tell something to the child, when you're trying to make some comments or trying to make some suggestions, it's very important that you make comments with lot of thought process, which will help them to have good self-esteem about themselves. That is why the self-esteem is very important in that particular adolescent stage, because they attach a lot of value to the parental perceptions, okay, to the things that are around them. We will now see how does this how is this executed, or how does this depend on social awareness, what kind of perceptions adolescents hold with them at that particular age. So according to uh, Rosenberg's, okay, self-esteem is the totality of individual's thoughts and feelings with reference to himself as an object. Okay. What does the individual think? What does the child think of himself? Okay. Because he is at the center. And what does he think about himself? His thoughts and feelings is very, very important. Okay. It could be positive orientation about oneself, or it could be negative orientation about oneself. I can have an positive value. I can attach a positive value to myself, or I can attach a negative value for myself. Okay. Basically, self-esteem depends on how much value you place on yourself. Okay. And I'm sure that, many a times for us also, okay, our self-esteem may go down at times. Sometimes it may be very high. Sometimes it may be very down. Okay. Why does this happen? Okay. What are the causes? What are the reasons is what we are going to explore. And therefore, I have just summarize this or summarize these three definitions in one statement, that self-esteem is a perception rather than a reality. Why is it a perception? Because the perception that I attach to myself about myself, okay, the perception that I attach, what others attach to myself is something which is the perception that I carry. Okay, it may not be a reality, but it is a perception that I attach. Why is it a perception? Why do I attach that value to myself? So now, looking at this image, okay, what do you think? How do people shape their beliefs? I have not put the keywords here, but what do you think? How do you think? How are people's self-esteem influenced? What are the factors that contribute to people's self-esteems? Society, okay. 1 point is correct, society. Okay. So looking from the first figure when we look at, okay. So when we look at the first image, okay, so at that particular stage, okay, when we talk about self-esteem, okay, self-esteem could basically mean how attractive I am, how good looking I am, okay. That could be one way of looking at self-esteem. The value that I attach to myself in terms of my appearance. And if you look at adolescents, mostly at that stage, okay, for them, how well they look, how well they are able to be a part of their group, their social group is very, very important. That is why physical appearance is very important. And that's how they value themselves and that's how they build connection to self-esteem. So their value is high if they feel that they look very good. Okay. Their value will be low if they feel that they do not look very good. And this is not just their feeling, but also the acceptance by the others. If somebody passes some comments, okay, that you are not so, good looking, or, you are not so beautiful, that may make an impact on their self-esteem. Okay. The next is their academic intelligence. Okay. Now, when we talk about academic intelligence, if I am performing very well, my self-esteem could increase. I would feel very good about myself. But if my academic intelligence is low, I'm not performing good, my scores are not coming good, then probably my self-esteem would be very low because I feel I'm not at par with others. And trust me, this happens. And these are the reasons, okay, of various issues that happen among adolescents, among college going students, which is very, very important. One of the other reason is also because at this age, okay, like after 12th or after their degree college, or maybe, after their 10th or 12th, okay, they may look at what careers they have to do, what kind of options they have to choose, okay, maybe in terms of what kind of professional careers they have to choose, or maybe in terms of, what kind of job opportunities they should look at. That is why they may compare themselves constantly with people, okay, who are there with them. And that is why academic achievement would be one factor. Another important factor is teacher. The way the teacher presents themselves in the class, the way the teacher handles the children in the class, the kind of attitude and behavior the teacher shows towards the students also makes a lot of difference on their self-esteem. Okay, trust me, all the participants who are there in this class, I'm sure that for many of you who are in this class, okay, the self-esteem would have been very high if their teachers were very positive about them, or their self-esteem would have been low if their teachers were not so positive about them. Okay. Many a time, certain comments by teachers, biasness by teachers could have impacted the self-esteem of the children. The next factor is parents. Parents play a very important role because at times even parents label their child, okay, or parents have constant comparison among siblings, okay, or parents make comparisons. So the way you treat your child, the way you accept your child is very, very important, okay, when it comes to self-esteem. Society, society norms, okay, what patterns are set by the society. See, for example, if I'm going to tell you, okay, see, we have that stereotyping where we say that, probably if you are a boy or if you are a girl, okay, you are set to do certain types of activities, or you are set for certain kind of careers. Even this may affect the self-esteem of the child. Okay, the norms which the society is keeping, okay, the kinds of practices or standards that the society keeps, okay, that may also affect the self-esteem of the child. And also when we look at society, okay, there are various contributors, like, your religion could come in, where my religious beliefs could also be a part of, self-esteem. Where I have also written culture. Culture is an important part, where, your religious practices, what you follow, how much do you believe in your customary practices, even that could be a factor of self-esteem. And definitely gender, okay, the gender discrimination or the gender stereotyping that we do at times also depends on your belief about yourself. That also adds value to your self-esteem. Apart from this, even the class, okay, whether you belong to a higher class or whether you belong to a lower class, is also one of the factors, that contribute to self-esteem of the students, self-esteem of the people, self-esteem of the children. Yeah, cognitive development, gender, society. Okay, so basically when we look at self-esteem, it is basically what worth you are attaching to your own self. Okay, and it is you, definitely you, the first factor. Okay, but apart from that, your environment also plays a major role when we look at self-esteem. Okay, so along with you, even your environment plays a major role when we look at self-esteem. I just want you all to read this elephant story. Okay. You all just read the story, and I will ask you all questions on how we try to connect this analogy to our daily life. How your self-esteem is developed over time. Very good. What about others? Any other responses? We don't take efforts. Anybody else? Self-esteem is based on belief. Okay, so very good responses. Okay, and habitual false beliefs. Humans believe blindly in the childhood and need extra effort to learn. Okay, so this is what I want to bring to you all, that okay, as children our mindset is created. As children, that boundary is created, that we are made to believe that we cannot do things. Okay, and that is why it is very important that as teachers, as even parents, I will tell you, okay, it is very important that we break these barriers and we give that freedom to children to believe that they can do something more. Because what happens if we are going to take this example of the elephant, okay, and say that they are not able to do it, the child starts believing, he starts behaving, he just doesn't believe, but he even starts behaving that you cannot do. Okay, and many a times certain habits that we have in our mind, okay, as childhood, those kinds of habits, practices still are there with us. Why? Because we have closed. Okay, past event affected their present capabilities. Because of this particular elephant analogy, if you see, that mindset is created, that boundary is created, that we cannot do anything, we cannot try. But this is wrong, this needs to be improved. See, those self-esteem, if you connect it to the recent policies of NEP 2020 and all, when we commit, okay, they definitely say that all-round development of the child. Now when that all-round development of the child comes, the self-esteem is very important. See, most of our life skills, like problem solving, decision making, all that will come. But The first and the foremost is self-esteem. The self-esteem of the child is very, very important. Okay. What kind of base you give, okay, is very, very important. The belief that the child can do. Okay, I'll give you examples from education, because I am from B.Ed. So many a times when we have B.Ed students, okay, we get a lot of B.Ed students who come. Now these B.Ed students, they have to take some methods. They have to take either science, or they have to take maths, or they have to take geography. So now this depends on the stream, like, so from 11th to TY, the child over here studies science, commerce, or arts, and based on that they come to do their B.Ed. Now I'll tell you, we have got a paper called Assessment for Learning, where we have statistics. It's simple statistics where mean, median, mode has to be done. Now the children who are from the art section, at many a times, they don't attempt this 10 marks paper. I teach that paper and they don't attempt. So when we ask, because it's a scoring 10 marks which the child can get, if it's very simple. You just have to calculate the mean, median, mode. Okay. And you have to calculate it. There are steps. It's being taught, practice is given. But invariably, we get students many a times who don't attempt that. And especially from the arts background, because they feel that maths is not their cup of tea, because they have that boundary that they cannot do. At the same time, we have got science and math students. Okay, when we tell them to write a report for most of our events, they say that, ma'am, we need more help. It is not possible, because we are more of science, we are technical people, so don't expect us to write. Even while writing their answer papers or writing their term and exam papers, okay, they are not able to write theory papers, because they feel that they are from the science background, that limitation is set, that we cannot do. And that is why we have to break this limitation. And that is why I feel that we need to, as teachers, ensure that the self esteem of the children is built up. I would also like to give you one more example. I had attended one holistic learning program, okay, at Sayadri School. Uh, so these are the Krishnamurti Foundation schools. Okay, they are at Pune here. Okay, within Maharashtra. So there we had an interaction with the children over there, and we met the children, we spoke to the children there. I'm sure you all know the Krishnamurti Foundation schools. Okay, they are schools apart, and you all can Google and search it. So their philosophy of teaching, philosophy of learning is quite different. But there is one important element that they focus on. Okay, that you should let the child do whatever they want to. You should give that freedom to the child. You should help the child believe in themselves. That is their tagline. And because of that, the children over there do wonders. And if you see, of course they have their subjects, of course academic subjects, but they also give a lot of importance to art, music, and creativity, and agricultural practices, like where they do farming. So it's a more of an experiential kind of learning, where learning by doing is the crux, and they do it. But their motto, they make their children believe that you are good at something, you will be able to do it, and the children flourish. So basically, we as teachers, so my request to you is that the takeaway from this session that you all should have is that believe in your students, believe in your children, that they will be able to do. That is something very, very important, because otherwise that delimitation would be set, and we would be never, it will take a lot of time. It's not that we cannot, but by the time we realize, many a times, even I for sometimes feel that that one stigma is there. Over the years I have overcome that, but it has taken time for me to overcome that. So that much of time has been lost, and that's why it's very important that as teachers we ensure that we give that freedom to children. Okay, so there are basically, when we talk of self esteem, okay, it falls in three categories. Okay, one is low self esteem, one is high self esteem, and there is something called as healthy self esteem. So when we talk of low self esteem, okay, it's unfavorable definition of the self. It basically means that I have a very low self esteem about myself. And if you see, majority of the people will be in this bracket, where people, especially in the adolescence age, okay, in the degree college, okay, when they are there, majority of them will be in this category. There will be very few who will feel that, their self-esteem is very high. And the people who fall under the high self-esteem category, okay, they are people who are very happy, who are very healthy. Now, there are various factors that are associated with it. Why low self-esteem? Why high self-esteem? See, never would a child want to be under the low self-esteem category. Okay, all would like to be in a high self-esteem category only. But there is also one word of caution here, that having very high self-esteem at times also can bring attitude. Okay, I can have a lot of attitude with very high self-esteem. And that's why it is very important that we fall under the healthy self-esteem, where we are resilient, where we are hopeful about life. Okay, resilient to do tasks, resilient to do activities. We will be able to do it. Okay, that kind of positivity should be there in us. Okay, when we look at healthy self-esteem. Now, a small activity to all of you. Okay, can you all just list down, what will be the characteristics of people who are from low self-esteem, who are from high self-esteem, and who have a healthy self-esteem? Having told the meanings, okay, before I proceed, can you all tell me, you all can just write in the chat box, what kind of characteristics will these people have? Okay. He has a very negative image about himself. He also has a negative image about the people, because he thinks that people think very bad about him. See, many times when we meet people, okay, at times, we constantly think what people are thinking about us. Okay. And that decides our self-worth, that decides our self-esteem. And many a times, people may not be able to do their best because they're constantly thinking of what people are thinking about them. Okay. See, in reality, people don't have time to think. But my thought that people are thinking about me itself puts my self esteem low or high. Okay. So we will just look at, okay, what people with low self-esteem have. Okay, so this particular word, okay, nihilification, is one of the biggest words in the English dictionary. And as I was preparing for this session, okay, this basically says that this is people with low self-esteem who see the world through a more negative filter. Okay, they have negative attitude about everybody, about people, about circumstances, about realities. They feel that everything is happening in their life, it's because of other people. They feel that everything bad will only be happening one after the other. They generally do not like themselves. They are very, very depressed. Okay, and they are very distressed. Now with this, added to this, they also have, they don't like to mix with people. They are very confused, as you all have written. Okay, they have got a lot of issues to be handled. And there is a lot of struggle in their life because their self-esteem is constantly going down. Okay, it takes a lot of time for such kind of people. Okay, where a lot of counseling, a lot of mentoring needs to be done. Now again, when we talk about counseling or mentoring, okay, this counseling and mentoring will not cannot be done by anyone. The child should have a trust in that particular teacher, particular person, particular family member, and only then it works, when we talk about um, increasing their self-esteem. Okay, so basically they have a very negative attitude, and they believe that everything that is happening in their life is because of circumstances and people. One negative after the other. They cannot think positively. It becomes very difficult. Now people who are having good self-esteem, definitely, okay, they can mingle in groups. There's one more response. Hesitate, negative confidence, healthy, good balance of confidence, positiveness. Very good. Okay. So now when we talk about people with high self-esteem, okay, they are more willing to speak in groups. They feel good. And research says that people with, high or good self-esteem are happier people. They are able to cope up with challenges, okay, and negative feedback, and they value and respect them. See, in a way, if you see, your self-esteem is nothing but what value and respect you give to yourself. Okay, how many of you say that in a day? So I've got a small activity towards the end of this session. Okay, how many of you all say that, I am good at this, I can do this? Many few people have that. See, many a times when we have situations or challenges, we do take it up. Okay, but at times we also doubt ourselves whether we will be able to do it or no. Okay, suddenly something comes to you. Okay, there is that constant doubt. See, we with this kind of experience and the age group that you all are, okay, we may, with certain kind of experience in life, we have come up, we can take up challenges. Okay, we will question, think, act, and then act with judgment. But in that naive age of adolescence, okay, when you see, okay, suddenly something comes up, if they are not able to value and respect them, okay, it will become a difficulty. And majority, if you see today, most of the adolescent children at this age have a lot of issues. There is one more added reason for this, why this should happen. There are two theories that I have put over here, and with that theory I will connect to the present problems of self esteem that children face. Now, people who are having healthy self-esteem, okay, they are assertive, they are optimistic, they like themselves. Okay, one important thing is that they welcome feedback, they exhibit honesty and integrity. Okay, honesty about, see, it is not that we are good at everything. At times, even we have our highs and lows. For some things, we may be very good. For some things, we may not be good. But people with healthy self-esteem exhibit honesty, saying that, I am not good at so and so, I need to improve, and they, accept feedback positively. Many a times when you give feedback to people, okay, or to children, they at times try to criticize. It may take time for them to convince the feedback that you want to give, or they may not like you, okay, or they may judge you, or they may feel that they are being judged, and that's why the feedback comes this way. So that is why people with healthy self-esteem definitely are very, very assertive, and they are happy for others' good fortune. They may not be jealous. Okay, they know that they have got certain strengths and qualities, and they will come out with this. At the same time, there are others who have got certain strengths and qualities, and they can come out with this. So this is the basic characteristics of people, okay, who have healthy self-esteem. I want you all to read this particular slide, okay, and just reflect. after which I will ask my question to all of you. High self-contained, okay. So any kind of experiences you all would like to share with people who have a negative self-image, okay, while you all were handling with, while you all were with children, okay, any kind of experiences that you all would like to write in the chat box about when you all were handling adolescents, and how did you find their um, um, self-worth, how did you find their self-esteem, any issues that you all have handled, positive affirmations and set small goals, okay, Stella ma'am, that would be one of the ways of how you could handle it. But before that, I want to ask you all, have you all any time found out issues or problems with student self-esteem, with the kind while you all were dealing with your students? Any responses in the chat box? Or do you think that at no point of time you all had students who had problems with their self-worth, with their self-esteem, all the time it was very good? How was it? Any kind of responses? Positive achievement goals? Yes, I do agree, Sanjay sir. I do agree, Dr. Sayatani. Difficulty of connecting it fluctuates. But any example, concrete example that you all had while you all were dealing with your students? Like I gave the example of children who come to us from different streams. At that time, there is a problem when there is a lot of pressure of studies from parents. They are talented but hesitate to come forward. Very good. Okay, because of negative thoughts that have developed. Very good. Okay. So exactly. Now this is what where we say that self-esteem is essentially vulnerable. Now in America, okay, they are come with a policy when students can't speak in English. Okay. Yes, that's also a very strong point. Content-wise, they may be very strong, but when it comes to speaking up in English, that may be an area of problem. Stage fear, that could be another problem where they have a negative self-image about themselves. A child came to me who had family illness and couldn't concentrate on studies. Probably the child, that's a very good example, Kritika ma'am, where you have said that how that could be one reason, inferiority complex. So according in the US, okay, what they say is that if I need to have well-being in my society, okay, lack confidence, yes, yes, very good. Okay, if I need to have well-being in my society, okay, if I need to see that my children have to grow, my adolescents, the future, okay, have to grow, then it is very important that the self-esteem, okay, the self-worth of the child is targeted. And they say that this problem, okay, or this area needs to be worked upon. And there are a lot of importance and stress that is given to the students right from the child, children feeling not up to date with trends and technology, feeling left by friends. That's also very good, ma'am. Okay, so It is very important, and this needs to be given importance, when the children are in the grade 6, 7th, 8th. Okay, that is during their secondary school. Okay, during their high school, where a lot of importance should be given. That is why I put this particular image here, which I felt I found it very, very important. Okay, a feeling of being stuck. Now, what happens? Okay, if a child, what are the possible consequences that could happen if a child doesn't feel, doesn't have a good self-worth about himself or herself? What could be the consequences of it in the society? What consequences do you think could happen in the society because of that? Okay, shy. What else? Lack of recognition, timid, introverted nature, depression. Hmm. Less self, they become introvert, can have feelings of harming themselves, depression. I take these responses. Okay, less self esteem to rahega hi, definitely. Okay. Lack of attention. So the bigger problems that are associated with this negative self-image is that these students, okay, constantly then have cases of depression. Okay, they have cases of suicide. They have cases of stress. Okay, there is a lot of behavioral problems among these children, and this is what research says. Okay, okay, when we say that, this would be a problem. But before that, there is also, when we talk about impact of self esteem, we had discussed the factors. Okay, one important factor that I would like to bring here is influence of media and advertisement. Okay, so when we look at media and advertisement nowadays is the ruler for everything. Your Instagram, your Twitter, your blogs. Okay, of course Facebook has become outdated for the younger generation. They are more into Instagram and Twitters. Okay, so this influence of media and advertisement also plays a lot of impact on self-esteem. So way back during our time, okay, if you see, we did not have technology so much, but we did have television, and we were also mentored in a way, or our self-esteem would depend on the fairness cream. So if you all remember, we had got that typical fairness cream, where you become fair. Just to quote an example, okay, and I'm not getting the name of that ad, but if anybody remembers, you all can write. Okay, and it was like, if you use that cream, you will become very fair, and then you will become very beautiful. Okay, and this was that ad, Fair and Lovely, exactly, Fair and Lovely. And that Fair and Lovely cream actually had a chemical ingredient also, which used to ensure that people who are dark skinned, there itself that labeling of dark skinned and fair skinned had started, and the people were looked upon on how beautiful you will look. Okay, so way back during our times, during the 70s and 80s, okay, there was television. Okay, or there were our actors and actresses who did influence and inspire us, and based on whom our self esteem was dependent on. But now if you look, okay, now when you look at the present times, okay, self-esteem is determined not only by your environment, definitely environment, but one major contributor to the environment is influence of media and advertisement. And other things, as I said, your academic, social performance, okay, your societal values and norms, what you should do, what you should not do, okay, as being of that particular age, okay, being that kind of gender, being from particular class or culture, okay, that societal values and norms are definitely set. Okay, now if you look at this, okay, that I is the self as knower, and the me, the self, is the self or selves. Okay, what this basically means is that I myself know myself as a knower, but any many a times I also have a me self, and this me self, okay, this me self changes with the people that I encounter. Okay, a simple example is, maybe if I'm with my siblings, okay, I will present a different self of myself. When I'm with my teacher, I present a different self. When I'm with my parents, I present a different myself. Okay. Now, this me self that I present in front of others will also determine my self esteem many a times. Okay. Now, probably. you know, I may not have a very good, a good rapport with my parents, because, parents may always say the expectations are high. I have to do this, I have to do that. But with my grandparents, my rapport is very good. And that is why my self-esteem in front of my grandparents is very good. So I also, okay, because man is a human animal, okay, so we also try to manipulate ourselves and behave in that manner to see that, we have a good self esteem of ourselves. So the me self here is something which we try to, we postulate, we create a me self for whoever we encounter. Okay. I'll give you an example of my own son. Okay. Now he never used to like maths and science. He still doesn't like maths and science. So in front of his maths science teacher, okay, he feels he cannot do maths. Okay, and his self esteem is low. But at the same time, his in front of his social studies teacher, especially his history teacher, whom he is very attached to, okay, his self-esteem, for history, okay, that he could do it very well is very high. So this is what I'm trying to tell you, that we also as human beings at times try to manipulate our me self because of the people who are around us, because of the environment who are around us. Okay. So these are the 6 risk behaviors and the ones which are highlighted in red. Okay. So this 6 main categories of risk behavior that I said is: one is substance abuse, one is eating disorders, one is suicide and self-harm that could happen among people, okay, who have low self-esteem, harmful use of media and antisocial behavior. Not only that, there was also one this where, people, went into adult kind of behavior which was not acceptable. Even those kinds of possibilities are possible when you have got low self esteem. Now suicide and self harm, so we see a lot of articles in the newspaper where children commit suicide, IIT people committing suicide, we come get it in the newspaper. Why does all this happen? Because of self esteem, because somewhere they are being bullied. So when we talk about self esteem, okay, going further, even bullying could be a factor where, your self esteem keeps going low. Okay, engaging in antisocial behavior, okay, where you engage in different kinds of behaviors which will cause to the environment also. So these are the 6 categories, and for these reasons it's very important that we as teachers should ensure that the self esteem of our children is important. They feel, they value themselves, they respect themselves for what they are. Once I had attended a session, okay, of uh, like this, I had also attended one session of one teacher training program, and there that madam had told that, under no circumstances we can say that, a child is not good in anything. What we do is we always equate the students with academics. So what happens, even as parents, even as teachers, we feel agar academics hai, the child can do, the child can excel, and that's why we just curtail ourselves to academics. But trust me, okay, each child has some unique capability. There is a strong point that is there in each child, and this is what we teach in our inclusion classes here in the B.Ed program, that each child is capable and competent of something. We should take that and ensure that the child moves forward. Okay. So that is why these are the main reasons. Somebody said depression, suicide, all these factors definitely have. Obesity is another big problem. So there are a lot of researches where also they feel, that obesity is a big reason. Okay. Sometimes people also, people who feel obese, okay, do not have good worth about themselves. Okay. And you might be seeing the younger generation who are into so many of kinds of practices, where they want to maintain. At the same time, there are children, young girls and all, who don't eat so well just because they have to maintain themselves, and there are a lot of problems associated with it. Okay. So definitely we need to cater to this, and for these reasons self esteem should be maintained for the children. Now, this is one theory of, okay, the looking glass self. This theory was by Charles Horton Cooley, and a very beautiful theory, which talks about the self worth, and this was published in one of his book called The Human Nature and Order. And according to him, okay, when he looks at the theory, okay, when what this theory basically says is that our concept of self comes on our contemplation of oneself, what we think our personal qualities. Okay. And at the same time, it also thinks upon the way the others. Yes, Kritika ma'am, we will come to this point also, how it is affecting them mentally and physically. Okay. And the examination of the way one is perceived by others in the society. So what they say is that this social interaction, okay, man being a social animal, the social interaction acts as a mirror, because a man cannot grow without social interaction. When we look at family as a value, when we look society, when we look at the, our own social family, which there is definitely worth, values, and behavior that we attach to themselves. So that is why the first aspect, what it says is that one must imagine how he or she appears to others, be it family, friends, or any random person being encountered. So constantly I'm thinking of how I appear to others, what others are thinking about me. Okay. The second is based on that I evaluate. Okay. He, she must be evaluated based on the way one is observed by others. I imagine and I evaluate myself. And the third step is that development of the self is based on the impressions of these evaluations or judgment of others. Okay. Before I proceed further, have you at any point of time experienced this? Have you tried to, have this concept of the looking glass self, where you have always thought about, how you appear, how you behave in front of others. You then evaluate yourself, and based on that, you try to form your self worth. As teachers, have you done this? I would like to hear some responses from you before I proceed further ahead. Does this Is this applicable to you also as teachers? What do you think? Do we do this not only as teachers, even in our personal life we may be doing this? Yes, sometimes. Okay, one response. Very good. What about others? Yes, we definitely do this, right? Okay. Even I say that we do this because many a times we do this where we are constantly, as I told you before also, that there might be others who might not think, but we are constantly thinking that what they are thinking about us. And there only the problem starts, and everything, it's there where the problem starts, and it continues. Right. So it's very important that we stop that and we think positive about ourselves. Okay. Now this is also another beautiful theory. Okay. Um, and so this is a sociometer theory. Okay. Which says that our self-esteem would be an indicator of how socially accepted or rejected we feel. Okay. The sociometer theory. So this says that how a thermometer looks at your temperature, the sociometer is like a meter which reflects to the degree with which you believe you are being socially included or excluded. Okay. I would like to give you one more example here. Okay. That during this adolescence, or maybe even if you have shifted from a new building to from one building to another, to a new building, or from one place to another, or from one college to another, there is constantly that fear in us that we should be included in a particular group. Okay. We should be accepted. Okay. Now see, when you are in your 20s and 30s, change is become, you are able to switch on from jobs to jobs. Okay. But suddenly, if at a certain age, okay, that constant fear is there in our mind. Okay. And that's where, if you connect to this theory, okay, which you believe, you're being socially, you have that fear of being included. And why I'm saying adolescence all the more here, of course, this goes with all ages. Okay. That is when you feel, okay, when you feel included, you feel appreciated or admired, and your self-esteem rises. And when you feel a sense of rejection, okay, criticism or social disapproval, and your self-esteem falls. Now, why does this happen? Please, I have highlighted this statement in green. We come into the world as a group, and we cannot develop as humans individually. Okay, man is a social animal. I cannot live without people around me. Okay, I have to have my immediate parents, my extended family, my siblings, okay, my neighbors, my working environment, my working culture. All that becomes a part of my group, and that's what decides my self-esteem. And that is why, okay, we constantly look for approval within our group. Okay. So see, sometimes it may also so happen that your suggestions and ideas may be accepted. So the moment it is accepted, you feel, yeah, you feel happy about it. But at the same time, when your idea is okay, you feel that it's a very strong idea, but it's not accepted, you feel criticized, you feel low. You feel low at that time. Your self-esteem may fall with, of course, that maturity that sets in with the in the age that we are. Okay. Definitely you may feel rejected. Okay, you may feel criticized, right? I am sure that even this, yes, it's happening many times, and I'm sure that this also happens many a times with people, right? So this is basically two theories that I wanted to basically come out with. Socio meter theory, and one is the one. um, yeah, the looking glass self. If you all have time, you all can read through these two theories. The looking glass self is also a beautiful theory, and the sociometer theory is also a beautiful theory that connects to self-esteem or self-worth. Okay. Now, sometimes back we were discussing about, how this self worth, okay, or self esteem can be made into a healthy self esteem. What should be done? Okay. Now, the onus doesn't just depend on the teachers. Okay. It is not just the teachers who will do it. Okay. But there is a lot of onus also on the self also. Okay. And while I was preparing for my this session, okay, we will first go with self. So for even for you and me, at many a times, self-esteem may be an issue. And that is why what is important. Okay, learning to communicate with others. It's very, very important. Many a times our communication is a problem. We are not able to communicate properly. We are not able to communicate with people. Okay, we fall short of communicating. Okay, now this one probable reason for this could also be our old childhood, where our communication was very less, or we were in a very rigid environment ki you should not talk to this person, you should not talk to that person. That's why at times we fail to communicate with others. So when you are building on self, it's very important that you learn to communicate with others. Okay, take small steps. Now, some time back somebody said that English is an issue. When the child is not able to talk in English, that may be a problem. That's a very valid reason. Okay, the child doesn't know, it should be a problem. So even when in our B.Ed college, okay, there are many students who come. Okay, and these students, sometimes they don't know to talk English. Okay, and they have a problem. So what we suggest to them is that we tell the friends, we tell the peers that talk to your friends, to your friend only in English, so that they are able to learn. So last year I myself had one eco student, okay, who was from Ranchi, who was from Lucknow. She was from that side. She was very good with her content. Okay, in fact, she was preparing for her UPSC exams and all. But when it came to giving lessons in the classroom, she was finding it difficult. But I bet you that child had taken so much of efforts to talk and communicate that she did manage to give her lessons, because we have all Catholic schools. Okay, because ours is a Catholic organization. So we had all Catholic schools, and she had to give her lessons in English. And we don't allow students to give, to use Hindi, because basically the language of communication at school is English. So learning to communicate with others is very important. Listening to others while talking, now that's also very important when we come. Now when we talk about listening to others, and when we talk about open to feedback, okay, whenever any feedback is given, we have to take it positively. Not only positively, but also accept the criticism, work on that feedback that is given to us, so that we can build on our self esteem. When many a times we start judging the other persons, that is wrong. Okay, self judgment and self understanding about yourself. Okay, where you are being not being over critical about yourself, not being too judgmental. Okay, not being rational. Okay, you need to know what are your limitations, what you are good at. Tap on those good things and ensure that you can have your self esteem improved. Learning to motivate oneself. How many times do we say that this is a good thing that I have done? I would like to have some responses here. If you all say that it's a good thing that we have done. See, professionally to hai, but personally also at times, do you we really pat ourselves ki, this has been done well. We have managed this so well. Okay, even at the office front, how many of you all motivate yourself? Do you all really motivate? Do you all do self talk with your own self, saying that or have positive self talk about yourself? How many of you in this group do? No. Okay, only one person. What about others? Do you all talk self talk? Do you have a positive self talk about yourself? I do talk to myself. Yes. No. Okay. I think I could have taken an opinion poll here. So, if people are saying that they do a good positive talk about themselves, it's very nice. I'm sure their self esteem would be high and they would have a healthy self esteem. And the ones who are saying a no, I think we need to have a talk, motivate ourselves and talk more positively about our own selves. Okay. A sense of responsibility. Okay, focus on achievement instead of failure. So when it comes to self, these are the basic points which we should act on. Okay, have a sense of responsibility, be open to criticism, be open to feedback. Okay, take the criticism also very positively. Now, as teachers, I have also kept one column here for teachers, because as teachers, we are constantly with our students, and the self esteem of our students depend upon the way we behave with them, the way we deal with them, the way we interact with them. And therefore, communication with students is very important. Okay, the way you communicate. See, many a times it so happens that, we have to give feedback to our students. So while we give feedback to our students, the way you give the feedback, okay? So feedback is an important component in our course, okay? Where because they give lessons and we observe the lessons and we give them feedback. So the way we give the feedback to the students also improves their self-esteem. Okay. And since we deal with adolescents, okay, because they are all graduates, like some may be doing postgraduates, but most are graduates. Okay. You know, good feedback from others can also achieve this goal. So the way the feedback also is given to the students matters a lot. Okay, teachers character and attitude towards the students. If I'm very biased, okay, that's why I've written this in bold: love and treat every student equally. Many a times we have that biasness, students who are very good, okay, we become very biased, and our work gets done, so we are very biased. But somebody who is more competent may feel low just because of a language issue, or because of coming from a cultural background. Okay, coming from a different cultural background, the self-esteem of the child may go. And that's why it's very important that we have to treat our students very equally. Our verbal expression and expectations from students: I know that this student is good in so and so technology, I can expect the best from him. This student is good in communication, I can expect the best from him. See, in a way, as teachers, we also give direction to our students, right? Okay, many a times they come to us. So I'll give you another example. I have one of the teachers who works in a junior college, and this particular teacher would be of my age only. And she had joined a college after completing her B.Ed course, and the principal. So there were senior most staff also in that college, and she was the youngest staff. So this adolescents, this 11th and 12th standard students, they were so comfortable talking to her. You know why? Because she could come down to their level, because she could understand her students, and it became so good that the students, shared everything with the student, with the teacher, any kinds of issues. Like some time back, somebody said there was family problems at home, medical problems at home, financial issues at home, and the students were ready and okay, to discuss, and the teacher could guide them properly. Now, this is the true role of the teacher. This is what the teacher is. I think with Google and everything, we can have knowledge. Knowledge is available today with AI also, but this that you pass on to your students is something is very, very important. And that is why we teach, when we teach theories, okay, um we basically focus on the emotional intelligence. So we have got this emotional intelligence, which I only teach. And we say, if you see, emotional competency is considered more important than your academic intelligence. Okay, academic intelligence too definitely is one contributor, but nowadays what they look at is emotional intelligence. And if you look at the NEP 2020, also it strongly says social emotional learning. Okay, if you all have heard this term, okay, social emotional learning is social learning with emotional competency is very, very important. Okay, establish a harmonious relationship with your students. Okay, have good expectations. Now, peer relations also makes a very important role. Okay, the way the peer peers treat in the class. Now, what happens is, suppose if the teacher is biased or the teacher labels a particular child. See, when we talk about inclusion and all, okay, now when we go to the schools and all, we have got lot of students, who have got problems of slow learner, who are ADHD or something. Some students are not able to cope up. So if as a teacher I am labeling a child, there are others also, the other friends, the other children in the school also start labeling. And that is why it is very important that, we as teachers even teach the children how to treat their peers, okay, how to treat their friends in the class. So that is why peer relationships are also important. Research also says that if you have a good healthy peer relationship, I have good self-esteem. See, many a times they also discuss their issues with their friends, with their peers, and that's why good peer relationship makes is very important. Definitely, this goes without saying, loving and nurturing family is very, very important. Okay, where there's constant comparison or constant kind of values. See, it all depends on what kind of values you have, what kind of values you pass on. So even when we look at self-esteem, okay, your high self-esteem builds up with good values. So values is also an important contributor for self-esteem, as I was reading for this session. Okay, so definitely a loving and nurturing family is the most important thing. Okay, there are a lot of differences that exist in a family, but having a loving and nurturing family, the kind of values that you give in makes a lot of difference while you try to build the self-esteem of the children. um, Now, this is a short video which talks about the famous failures of different people. Um, One minute, I will just play the video again. Sir, I have to play this video. So,
Mm, Ma'am, is there a PPT or is it
yeah,
from Canva?
no, it's not on Canva, sir. It was on YouTube from where I have
Oh,
played this
you put the
video.
link. You put the link in the chat box so that
Chat box. Okay, okay,
yes.
okay. I'll do that, sir. I'll
So
do that, sir.
yes.
So I have pasted the link on the Zoom. So can you play it? Yes, I have pasted. All of you, I have pasted here. It says no link. Can you all see now? Can you all view it now? Yeah, so can you all just go through that video in 2 minutes and we could have some responses there so that I know that you all have watched the video. Could you all see the video? What does this video basically reflect on? Any responses?
Yes, ma'am. You read the chat box, so they put they put the comment.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, sir. Failure to success, resilience after failures. Very good, very good. So this is basically this video where there was also in that one teacher, where it's spoken about one teacher, okay, who doesn't talk about success for her students, and that's why it's very important. And these are some examples which you could take it to the classroom and tell them that these students were in their paths of failure, but how they have got success in life. Okay, so we move ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. 1 minute, sir. 1 minute. I don't know where my Canva went. Yeah, yeah. So this is also about Serena Williams. I just want you all to read about this and what inference we could make out of this. You need to take the risk to progress in life. Very good. So sometimes what happens is we try to imitate our older siblings. Our identity loses, and so does our self-esteem. Okay, so that's why it's very important that we be what we are, and for this it would take time. So somewhere she realized, okay, that she had to be the person who I am rather than being Venus. So this is also one example which I wanted to share with you all. Okay, any responses for this? Okay. David Bowie. Now he's a good singer, actor, is what I could know about him while I was researching, and this is during his experience of how he had issues of self image and self worth. Request you to kindly read this. Okay. I'm sure all of us have gone through this at some point of time. We felt, when things were not going our way. Okay. we might have felt very low. But this one important thing here, if you all notice, is that he took work very seriously and he thought that work was the only thing of value. So for him, at least we could say that, he took the positive aspect of working continuously and constantly being in work where he tried to improve his self-esteem. But many a times it so happens that once we are going down, 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 for us, we think the whole world is closed, everything around is closed, and then it becomes more difficult, challenging, okay, for the people around that person to bring that person's self-esteem up. So this is one chart that I want you all to observe. Okay, self-esteem is um how you can achieve self-esteem. Okay, just take a look at this. Choosing to love myself, the words I say to myself, finding purpose in life. See, as I'm telling you, finding purpose in life, for some people, that purpose in life may come little late. For some people, for them to understand what is their purpose in life would take time. We cannot rush. Okay. We need to be patient. We as teachers need to channelize them to see that they are able to get a purpose in life. Okay. The courage, you all did talk about risks, how I react to criticism. Okay, constantly ignoring negative thoughts. At times, it is also important that we ignore negative people around us. Many a times, there are people who are very negative. And the safe thing to be as teachers would be to ignore them. At the same time, when you are trying to even, counsel your students, the safe thing would be to keep these people away from this. Okay, even as parents, okay, when we have children, it is always better to keep your children away from these people who are negative, be it your extended family, be it your siblings, be it their friends, anybody. Okay. Accepting myself and others, accepting the way I am and trying to work on me. That me is very, very important. I just have a small activity for you. There are two small activities. This is what I want you all, basically affirmation and strength building, which is very important. Three affirmations that you should say to yourself each morning. I am, I bring, I will. Can you all just do this activity? And I could have some responses for this. Yeah, I want to have few responses in the sense that um, three affirmations about yourself. You could tell about yourself to each morning. Okay, I am confident. Okay, I'll be positive. Okay, I bring faith with me. Okay, I would like to have responses in one box where you all give for all the three statements that are given over here. So this is kind of an affirmation statement, okay, activity which you should do. And this task you could also do with your students, okay, where you can give it to them and help them to, improve their self-esteem. So I would appreciate if there are few responses on the chat box with this. Any responses on the chat box? Okay, I am. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I will succeed. Beautiful. I will achieve. I am strong. I bring smile. I'll never lose hope. I bring positive change in my life this year. Superb. I'm an optimistic person. I'm strong. I'll do everything. I am happy. I really appreciate the responses, and I request that you all continue with this kind of self-esteem, and more importantly, you all work on the self-esteem of your students. It will do wonders, and we would have better people out there in the society. So, sir, with this, I have ended. Actually, there is one more small activity. So, if you allow me, sir, I can give them one small task. Is it okay? Or
Yes, ma'am. We still have 5 minutes. That's fine.
okay, okay. Just give me 2 minutes, people, please.